I know.
Like before church or a funeral? I figured
It's
it.
fine, I'm not ready yet, so I'm ready now.
Good evening. I want to welcome you to the Columbia County Board of Commissioners, January 18th, 2022 meeting. Ask Commissioner Malier to open us with it.
Please bow your heads with me. Lord, thank you for the cool, crisp weather we're having, and thank you for the rights we have, including the right to assemble and to govern ourselves. Be with us tonight as we go through our issues on the agenda. A lot of these items are not easy. Lord, thank you for letting us come together and talk about them, and be with us as we make these decisions and think about how they affect us and our families and our neighbors and our community. Help us make these decisions in fairness and in truth. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic, one nation, God, visible.
Let the record show we have a full quorum of commissioners. Commissioners, we have the minutes from the January 4th meeting in your packet. Approval, I'll accept a motion to do so.
Motion to accept as presented.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Changes to the agenda.
Not to my knowledge, Mr. Chairman.
Special recognitions, I believe we do have one for Columbia County Convention and Visitors Bureau for Restaurant Week. And Commissioner Malier is going to handle that. And Shelley is here.
Get the mic, Ms. Melissa, recording.
Right. Whereas the Columbia County Chamber of Commerce and the Columbia County Convention and Visitors Bureau have joined in partnership to lead an initiative to highlight our local restaurant community, and whereas Columbia County restaurants are a leading employer and their success is critical to our county's overall workforce, and whereas Russell Lahodney just walked in the door, come on. Whereas Columbia County recognizes that restaurants are a vital partner in tourism and our local economy, promoting entertainment and nourishment, which are essential to a strong community landscape. And whereas Columbia County recognizes that participating restaurants will offer special menu items and/or discounts for our residents and visitors. I've never said special menu items in a commission meeting before. Now, therefore, the Columbia County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim January 24th through 30th, 2022 is Columbia County Restaurant Week. Good, glad y'all could be here. Is there anything special you want to tell us about it?
Well, we just obviously, this is an opportunity for us to really highlight the restaurants in our community. Typically, this time of year tends to be a little bit slower for them. So it's a perfect opportunity for us as locals, especially to go out and visit our local restaurants and support them, especially in the past couple of years when they've supported us so well. They've been there for us. They've delivered. They've learned how to deliver. They've done all sorts of things to make sure that we all can eat and enjoy the food. This is an opportunity for us to highlight them. You look at our community, and there are over 4,000 people that are employed by our local restaurants. So it's just another way to support the jobs here in our community. This is next week. It's running from Monday through Saturday, or Sunday. It's on both. It can access it through our Facebook pages, through our website. You'll find the links to all the participating. And there are special menu items, so yes.
Russell. And we'll vote on that to make it official in a little bit. Commissioners, you have the consent agenda in front of you. Each item on this agenda has been through the necessary committee and received the necessary votes to be placed on the consent agenda. So if they still meet with your approval, I'll accept one motion to do so.
So move, sir.
Any questions? Raise your right hand. Motion carries. On to the debate agenda, Commissioner Malier.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve the proclamation for Columbia County Restaurant Week, January 24th through 30th, 2022.
Second.
Any questions? Since we've already given it out, I guess we should vote on it. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Y'all are free to go. I believe we're on to Commissioner Skinner.
Yes, sir. Item 1B1, file RZ 220101. I make a motion to approve the request for a rezoning from S1 to RA, located at tax map 058, parcel 020C.
Second.
This is a parcel that had a S1 zoning given to it back in the 90s, I believe 97, allow a pet grooming operation to happen in a building behind the main residence. New owners want to go back to RA to have all the full rights that go along with RA to do an ancillary dwelling.
Any questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Next, item B2, file RZ 220102. I make a motion to approve the request for a rezoning from C1 to M1 for property located at tax map 078B, parcel 053, in order to operate a cabinet shop on the property.
Second.
It was formerly a dry cleaning business. The cabinet shop was located near this. They bought this property, looking to move into it. It does not have the current zoning required to operate a cabinet shop. If you are inclined to grant this request for rezoning, there'll be some variances associated with it for setbacks as well. But it does have some M1 around it, across the street, kind of back and to the right from the picture you're looking at there. It does have some uses next door to it that current use tables will require an M1 zoning as well. So staff feels comfortable with this request.
Are they already using?
They are not. They're in the process of getting set up, and while they're business license, that's what triggered this application process. So they're trying to get everything ready. They are working on the building, which they can do, getting the building ready. They just can't operate until you approve this.
Any questions? Carries.
Next is item B3, file VA 220101. I make a motion to approve the request for variances from sections 90-98, list of lot and structural requirements, and 90-139, buffers and screening for property located at tax map 078B, parcel 053, 0.68 plus or minus acres, subject to the conditions enumerated in the January 6, 2022 Planning Commission.
Second.
Question?
No, I'm just.
So again, you have some dissimilar zonings that require some pretty large setbacks and buffers on this property. As you can see, the building is pushed back to the property line in the rear, where staff is recommended going to a 0-foot buffer, but making a structural buffer be in place, which would be a fence. The property owners agreed to that. The western side would be a 10-foot buffer, structural buffer, which means 10 foot of vegetation as well as a fence on that property. The setbacks, variance to the setbacks only apply to the existing buildings. Anything new added to the site would be required to meet current requirements.
The room on the site for anything new?
Not to meet setbacks, no. But if they were to tear down the building and build something new.
Okay, fair enough.
They did mention some parking maybe happening this side, they are looking to do, a fence across the front here so that you won't see what's going on back there, which should be required for outdoor storage. So the fencing would allow that. I believe that's correct, isn't it, for outdoor storage? The fencing would meet the requirements for outdoor storage, if they were to put it. But basically, the fence would start rear of the building, follow up, and then enclose in something, not exactly to scale there, but gives you an idea what it will look like.
And that's in addition to the vegetation.
Vegetation in this area here. No vegetation required back here, and the reason that is the building, as you see, sits there. If we were to do a vegetative buffer on the rear of the building would violate that buffer. So no way to put a buffer with the existing building in place.
How close is that corner to
I think it's about 3 feet.
the Wow.
Like it's on.
Yeah, that line is kind of fat, so about 3 feet is the setback, or the offset, I believe, from the property line, which, the zoning, if they were similar zonings, 3 feet would be what would be required, but because of the dissimilar zonings, it was what.
I mean, it is what it is, and if they're gonna build cabinets in there and their buildings there, I'd issues with it.
Other questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Next is item B4, file RZ 220103. Make a motion to approve the request for a major PUD revision for property located at tax map 060, parcel 1702, to reduce side setback subject to the conditions enumerated January 6, 2022 Planning Commission report.
Second.
So here you have a situation, Teresa, if you'll go back a few slides, right there. The red line you see here is the footprint of a house under construction. They pulled their string line for their property line. They found a pin back here in the back that was not the correct pin. So instead of pulling the correct line, pulled this line, did their offsets. This house was under construction. They discovered the mistake. Same owner for both lots. So they are looking to. They've already adjusted the property
I don't
line.
think that's correct, is it?
Sir?
I think it's the same owner for both lots.
Same builder, isn't it?
I don't think so. I'm seeing Chad
Is
Vickers
Vickers.
and Higgins Builders.
You're correct.
Okay, I apologize.
Yes.
Correct, I see that. Where was I? When this property here started construction and started doing their layout, they discovered that this property, this house was not right. So property lines has been adjusted already. So that's the new property line you can see here. I didn't quite trace it correctly, but new property line. They're asking for a variance of setbacks to make them 7.5 foot on this common property line. So it'd be a 7.5 foot setback on this side, 7.5 foot setback on this side. It remained 10 on the opposite sides for this property. Basically allows the building that has already been constructed there to meet the zoning if you were to grant this variance. If you were to not grant this variance, we would have to tear down house and move over and start again.
Show where the construction is at this point.
Back one.
Right there.
If it were built properly, if they used the right pin, was there adequate distance between the two?
According to the staff, I have not been on site, so I refer to.
What I'm asking is not
Right.
that.
It wasn't done erroneously to get a larger house.
Extra lot, yeah, okay.
Right.
Lot, that way. Applicant here? Y'all know if property owners or got it squared away and they both good, because in fact, somebody's got to buy some property from somebody or something.
Right, they've been in and discussing it with us. They're in agreement with how it's been taking place now.
That's already been.
Plat's been
the new property line went through a minor plat revision, so it didn't require a full board vote, so that's why I was just conferring, have we been through that process yet?
I'm just trying to make sure
Right.
that B is okay with A.
Right.
Not
Well,
all of a sudden he says, guess what?
Well, you've got,
Tough topic.
approve this one, the
Tough
next one,
topic.
you get to vote on the next one, so this is two separate action items, one for each property, so we had to have an application from both property owners. So both property owners have asked for it. Does that answer the question you're having there?
As long as they're at the end of the road and they're in agreement, not us
Picking
getting
sides,
there
picking
and
a winner.
then somebody can change in the middle of the stream is what I'm concerned. I just want to make sure that everybody is good at the end of the day.
Right.
Sounds like Paul said they were.
They are, like Scott said, they both had to apply for the personal lot, so.
Vickers that have signed the application for the one we're talking about now. Next one, it was applied for by Higgins Builders. Both have applied, both are on the agenda tonight. You're addressing the Vickers one at this point.
Got it. Any other questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Motion B5, other property we're talking about, file RZ 220104. I make a motion to approve the request for a major PUD revision for property located tax map 060, parcel 1703, to reduce the side building setback 7.5 feet, subject to conditions enumerated in the January 6, 2022 Planning Commission.
Any other discussion?
If, I know they're square, if they're not square, are we out of it in a civil matter, or do we still have a say?
You're out of it. You're out at this point. Matter. I would say you're out of it until they came asking you for the change in variance. I mean, they could very easily handle this civilly. Property B could have asked property A to take the house down and move it.
And I feel like they probably have it all ironed out, but I don't want somebody to say later for you, and then we help the guy say later.
Motion on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries.
Next, item B6, file RZ 220105. Make a motion to approve the request for a rezoning from RA to S1, property located at tax map 063, parcel 003K, for a commercial concrete company, subject to the conditions enumerated in the January 6, 2022 Planning Commission.
Second.
We have a request for a rezoning from RA to S1. This is for, as you heard, a concrete company. Want to make sure we're clear, this is not for a concrete batch company. They're not creating.
Not making concrete.
They're not making concrete that goes into a truck that is delivered to a site. This is a company that works with that form of concrete to make walls. I'm sure they could possibly do other things with that concrete as well, but they are not making concrete at this site. This is currently a storage location for this company. They do have plans to grow in the future. They do have a site plan you see here showing a proposed building. Could be an office with a little bit of storage in it as well. They look to put it on septic. The septic system shown there. During the planning commission meeting, the public hearing, there was opposition that's noted in your packet there from one of the neighbors. However, I will say that this property has been used for this for about 5 years, 6 years at this point. We were made aware of it because of a temporary permit application, temporary power permit that was received, and upon going out there and looking at it, found the business operating without the proper zoning. That's how we were made aware of it. There is a structure on site that was built without permitting. One of the conditions is if you do decide to approve this is we're asked that that structure be permitted properly, which is going to require somebody to write some letters stating that it does meet code. Happy to answer any other questions I can. I believe the applicant is here if you have questions for him.
applicant live on site? Was this a home occup? Didn't I read that it was a home?
It's a home occup, but it's not at this location. It's in,
Located in Kingston,
Kingston, correct.
correct? Is there any reason why the home op would be, the home business would be in Kingston and operating here for 5 years?
I would think
Out of
that
compliance?
running the actual office out of the home, running the paperwork, but then actually storing materials at this site would be how I would think. But again, I believe you could talk document. He's here. He can answer these questions directly.
Mind coming up for a quick second? Thanks, and just state your name and address for the record.
Kathy, 133 Kingsway Road. This is 21 plus acres. Just we've been storing our materials, leftover materials, that type of stuff.
The only question, and I can speak for myself, no intention to make batch concrete there. That would obviously be an issue.
No employees that go to this site on a normal basis, job sites to work, overflow materials.
A lot of equipment or?
There, yeah, there's hose, skid steer.
Do they, and you use those on site or do they leave on a regular?
I use those on site, but they do come and go periodically. Stay on the site as long as the job's going on, but when the job finishes, we clean up back to the yard.
More like a laydown yard.
Yes, sir, you bought this property a year ago?
No, I bought the front piece. I had this piece in conjunction with, like, the back piece,
You can draw on your
You
screen.
can draw on that.
You draw on your screen in
Draw on that
front of you.
40-something acres with my finger?
Yep, yes.
Okay. It was connected to all of this, and I was co-owners, person that owned this others. A year ago, we split off. So I've been here.
Was there some reason that you were operating here and not in compliance with
I wasn't.
almost any, every ordinance that we have on the subject, sir?
20-something plus acres, and we were just started off with 10 2x4s and ended up with 100. Putting stuff, didn't know couldn't do that. I'm not operating a business at it. I'm storing material.
Now, do you understand you won't, if you wanted to operate a batch plant, you would have to come back to this board and ask for that adjustment?
Yeah, I don't want to operate. I got enough.
Well, I didn't want you to do business for 5 years, but you did that. Okay, so I just wanted to be sure that from this point forward, you're gonna be between the lines.
No, yes. Properly scolded. What I need to do.
And you know that you're gonna have, is this, I wouldn't call this a building. It's gonna have to be engineered to specifications with our Connie
Yeah, it's
engineer?
Connex is either.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, there's a motion on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B7, I make a motion to approve an agreement with Schindler Elevator Corporation, Harlem Library, in the amount of $9,567.
Second.
Remember, I presented this to you at committee, and we asked to move this to debate due to some comments that we had from our legal team with the contract or the proposal. Basically, it boiled down to them being liable for damage they created. We went back to Schindler and asked them if they would amend their proposal. They told us they did not feel comfortable amending their proposal. We explained that our concern was that paying this money and them not guaranteeing to fix it kind of had us on the edge a little bit. They understood, they assured us that this will fix the problem. We assured them if it didn't, we'd have a great lawyer and a great courthouse to see them in, and they understood. So at this point, if we want the elevator fixed, we kind of got to sign the agreement. Staff does recommend approving this agreement.
And the elevator is what brand?
The Schindler.
Oh, Schindler's.
Otis, we have a contract with Otis for maintenance of all our elevators. They quoted us $11,000 on top of things they've already done, and they said we can't guarantee this fixes anything. They're basically rebuilding a new motherboard to drive somebody else's elevator. So we went to the manufacturer themselves and said, this is what we need. They said, we'll handle it, and it's $2,000 less than Otis quoted us. Which is why I'm bringing it to you, because we're going outside of our contract. We're leaving our contractor and going to the manufacturer directly.
And of course, a separate issue is contract with Schindler to support Schindler elevators.
We've talked about that. We're actually going through the proposal, or the request for proposals for elevator maintenance for the entire county. So we're talking, who can we reach out to? Who can we?
I think you want to split them by manufacturer.
That's what that was my question. And we do have multiple manufacturers.
We
so-
do. We have several different elevators.
Any other questions? Motion on the floor, all in favor, raise your right hand. Fix the elevator, Mr.
Thank you.
One more, I guess, and it's still Commissioner Skinner's.
I've got that one, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to approve resolution number 22-06, temporarily halting the issuance of new alcohol licenses for off-premise consumption of distilled spirits.
Second.
So recently, you remember we had an issue where we had 3 applications for off-premise consumption of distilled spirits at the same intersection. That sparked some conversation between commissioners and staff. Staff is looking at writing some changes into Chapter 6, which is our alcohol section of the ordinance, as well as some of the zoning requirements for distilled spirit, off-premise consumption of distilled spirit sales locations. So while we're rewriting that, we're asking to approve this resolution to stop the acceptance of applications for off-premise consumption of distilled spirits only, while we present this new language to commission for consideration. It does have an expiration date, expiration time of 180 days from today if you approve. That gives staff 6 months, which we don't think it'll take that long. We think we'll have it back to you in the next 2 months, simply because of timelines of advertising that we have to go through. Hopefully within 2 months, 3 months at the most, we'll have a proposed ordinance in front of you to consider. At that point, you'll take action and this will go away.
And to be clear, this is distilled spirits only, has nothing to do with wine or beer, has nothing to do with stopping at a restaurant or a convenience store from opening up. This is off-premise consumption of distilled spirits only.
And it's for new licenses, not existing.
New license, not a renewal of existing license.
Not renewal.
Correct. Just have to tweak a couple things in our ordinance to prevent what had happened last month happen again.
Can I make sure, I mentioned this, but I want to say it public, make sure included in there that we don't get multiple applications at one time for in a particular area, that if we get an application, that one is dealt with before we accept another.
Absolutely. One of the main points we have to drive home.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Favor, raise your right hand. Carries. Legal matters.
No legal matters.
No committee reviews. Any public comments? Any public? Executive session, I don't see one. I guess there's one more thing that needs to be dealt with.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that, sir.
All in favor, raise your right hand, and we're adjourned.